Penguins propose with pebbles at a lee. Penguin males don't just seek a mate. They stage a true romantic ritual in the icy vastness of Antarctica. When it's time to win over a female, the male carefully selects the smoothest and most beautiful pebble he can find and presents it to his chosen one as a symbol of his affection. If she accepts this gift, she's ready to pair up with him. This charming gesture has become a symbol of courtship among penguins, adding a touch of warmth to the frozen Antarctic landscape. Imagine if we replaced engagement rings with pebbles. Jellyfish, ancient survivors of 5 mass extinctions. Can you believe that jellyfish have existed on our planet for more than 600 million years and have survived 5 mass extinctions? These ancient creatures started their existence long before the dinosaurs and have adapted to the most extreme changes in climate and environment. They have no brains, hearts, or bones, yet they continue to thrive due to their ability to adapt and survive under any conditions. Jellyfish are considered some of the oldest living organisms on Earth, and they continue to amaze scientists with their unique biology. Imagine how incredible nature is, given that these creatures have endured millions of years of evolution. Is it really possible that in Norway there is a tunnel where goats are herded every day? In Norway, there is the unique Lærdal Tunnel, which is considered the longest road tunnel in the world, stretching more than 24 kilometers. But what's surprising is that every spring this tunnel is not only used by cars, but also to herd goats. During migration, the animals cross the tunnel in search of pastures, and it has become a local tradition. Not only is it safer for the goats than mountain roads, but it also attracts tourists. Can you believe it? There are islands that appear and disappear. In some parts of the world, especially in the Indian Ocean region, there are sandy islands that appear and disappear depending on the tides. These islands are known as ghost islands. They may only exist for a few hours or days before being submerged again. This incredible natural phenomenon raises questions among scientists about how such unstable ecosystems form. Did you know the world's smallest horse weighs less than a dog? Thumbelina, the world's smallest horse, stands at just 43 centimeters tall and weighs only 26 kilograms. Born in 2001 with a genetic condition causing dwarfism, Thumbelina may be tiny, but she has a big heart. She works as a therapy animal, bringing joy to children and the elderly with her adorable presence. How far can a lion's roar be heard? The secret of the king of beasts. The lion rightly bears the title of king of beasts, and its roar is one of the most powerful sounds in the animal kingdom. A lion's roar can be heard up to 5 miles, 8 kilometers away, and it's almost as loud as thunder. This roar not only shows the lion's strength, but also helps it hold its territory, scare off rivals, and communicate with other pride members. If you heard such a roar in the wild, you'd definitely know who's the boss. Imagine a flight that lasts only 53 seconds. The shortest commercial flight in the world connects 2 Scottish islands, Westray and Papa Westray. This flight covers just 1.5 miles and lasts less than a minute. Only 53 seconds. By the time you buckle your seatbelt, the plane is already preparing to land. It's probably the quickest and shortest way to travel that you can imagine. If you ever find yourself on this flight, you won't even notice its start and finish. Why did the famous bridge in Venice almost sink? The Rialto Bridge is the oldest and one of the most recognizable bridges in Venice. It began to sink shortly after its construction in the 16th century. Venice itself is subject to constant flooding, so the bridge has gradually sunk over time. Engineers have conducted numerous restoration works to preserve it, but Venice still faces the threat of sinking, and the Rialto Bridge serves as a reminder of the fragility of this magnificent city. What if I told you there's an island in Japan covered in volcanic ash? Sakurajima Island in Japan is one of the most active volcanoes in the world. Eruptions occur so frequently that a layer of volcanic ash covers the entire island. Local residents have adapted to living in these conditions, and the island even has special machines to clean volcanic ash from the streets. Despite the constant threat, this island is home to thousands of people and a popular tourist destination. How about this? In Sweden, there's a competition for the worst-smelling socks. This may sound absurd, but Sweden holds an annual competition called the Stinky Sock Contest, where participants compete for the title of owning the smelliest socks. The competition attracts many brave souls willing to wear their socks for months without washing in hopes of winning. The socks are judged based on intensity and aroma, and the winner gets not only the title, but also unique prizes, such as a year's supply of new socks. It sounds weird, but this contest really exists. Did you know that Dr. Seuss invented the word nerd? The term nerd, used to describe someone passionate about knowledge and science, was first coined by Dr. Seuss in his book If I Ran the Zoo in 1950. This whimsical term quickly gained popularity and became a beloved label for those who are enthusiastic about learning and geek culture. Thanks to Dr. Seuss, nerd has evolved into a term of endearment for those who love to dive deep into the world of science and intellectual pursuits. How many species of animals do you think are on Earth? Our planet is a true treasure trove, home to over 8,700,000 species of animals. Even more astonishing is that over 80% of these creatures remain undiscovered. These mysterious beings, hidden from our eyes, are waiting for their moment to reveal their secrets. As we explore the animal kingdom, we uncover the wonders of nature, reminding us of the endless mystery and diversity of our planet. Can you believe a sloth can hold its breath for 40 minutes? Sloths, despite their slow movements, possess an extraordinary ability to hold their breath for up to 40 minutes. This physiological adaptation helps them survive in the treetops and protect themselves from predators, even allowing them to stay underwater for extended periods when crossing rivers. This unique skill, developed for life in the rainforest canopy, shows how evolution has crafted these creatures to perfectly match their environment. Sloths may be slow, but their adaptations are anything but ordinary. Why does an entire sea freeze in Canada? In Hudson Bay, winter temperatures can drop so low that the sea completely freezes, turning it into a giant ice desert. The ice here is so thick that even vehicles can travel across it. In winter, locals use it as a road, creating temporary routes directly on the sea's surface. This icy highway becomes vital for those living in the remote areas of northern Canada. Did you know that a chameleon's tongue is twice as long as its body? Chameleons are master hunters thanks to their unique ability to extend their tongues over incredible distances. Their tongues can be twice as long as their bodies. This allows them to instantly capture prey that is far away from them. The chameleon's tongue works like a powerful mechanism that can shoot out with immense speed and precision. It's amazing that this anatomical feature makes chameleons some of the most efficient hunters in the insect world. So next time you see a chameleon, remember, its tongue is a real weapon. Believe it or not, licking your elbow is almost impossible. Have you ever tried to lick your elbow? Despite all attempts, most people simply can't do it. The reason lies in anatomy. The length of the arm and the position of the elbow make it impossible for the tongue to reach that point. Of course, there are rare exceptions. People with extraordinary flexibility might surprise their friends by succeeding. But for most of us, it's physically impossible, no matter how hard you try. This fun fact is the perfect opportunity to test your abilities and see if you're anatomically unique. But be careful not to hurt yourself in the process. Hard to believe, but the sun makes noise, and we can hear it. Although space is silent in the usual sense, scientists have found a way to hear the sun using special instruments. The sound of the sun is produced by vibrations on its surface and inner layers, caused by thermal processes. Scientists have converted these vibrations into sounds that we can hear. If you could listen to the sun, it would sound like a low, humming noise. These solar vibrations help astrophysicists study the sun's internal structure, predict solar flares, and understand the processes happening in its core. Did you know ketchup was originally sold as medicine? In the 19th century, ketchup was considered not just a tasty condiment, but a real medicine. It was developed as a remedy for digestive problems and sold in pharmacies. Imagine going in for stomach relief and getting a bottle of ketchup. Today it seems strange as we are used to ketchup on burgers and fries, but its journey from pharmacies to kitchens was surprisingly interesting. Who would have thought that some jellyfish can live forever? The jellyfish Turritopsis dohrnii can revert from its adult stage back to its juvenile stage, avoiding death. It can regenerate its cells and rejuvenate, making it practically immortal. Scientists are still studying this phenomenon, but the potential of this process opens up incredible possibilities for research into cell aging and regeneration. If humans had this ability, we could avoid many diseases and extend life expectancy. Is it really possible that in Spain there is an underground city without a single house above ground? In the town of Setenil de las Bodegas, Spain, people live directly under the rocks with their homes built into caves hidden beneath the earth. This town has existed for hundreds of years, and its streets are literally covered with giant rock slabs, creating the feeling of an underground world. The rock houses protect residents from summer heat and winter cold. Setenil de las Bodegas is so unique that tourists from all over the world come to see how life can exist in such a hidden and mysterious place. The secret of the creosote bush's longevity. In the Mojave Desert, one of the driest places on Earth, a creosote bush over 11,000 years old still grows. It's the oldest living thing on Earth, having survived entire civilizations. It grows in a ring shape, with each new sprout slowly replacing the older ones, creating an unbroken connection to past generations. Thanks to its incredible ability to survive in extreme conditions, this bush has become a symbol of resilience and longevity. The creosote bush reminds us that nature can withstand almost anything if left undisturbed. What if I told you that a blink lasts only 0.3 of a second? Blinking is one of the fastest reactions of our body, and each one takes about 0.3 of a second. But despite its speed, blinking serves an important function. It moistens our eyes, protects them from dust, and even gives the brain a moment to rest. Throughout the day, we blink around 20,000 times without even noticing it. So the next time you blink, remember, your body is working like a true biological machine, taking care of you every second. Did you know Venus spins backwards? Unlike most planets in our solar system, Venus rotates in the opposite direction, meaning the sun rises in the west and sets in the east. Scientists are still unsure what caused this bizarre behavior, but one theory suggests that Venus may have collided with a massive asteroid long ago, altering its axis. And here's another mind-blowing fact. A day on Venus is actually longer than its year. Did you know that a jiffy is an actual unit of time? The term jiffy is not just a figure of speech. It's a real unit of time. In scientific terms, a jiffy is defined as the time it takes light to travel 1 centimeter in a vacuum, which is approximately 33 picoseconds. While we often use the word to refer to something happening quickly, scientists have made it a measurable moment. This fun fact shows that even the quickest of moments can be quantified if you delve deep enough into the mysteries of time. Polar bears are invisible to infrared cameras. Polar bears are true masters of camouflage. Thanks to their thick layer of fat and dense fur, they are perfectly insulated from the Arctic cold. But what's truly surprising is that these furry giants are almost invisible to infrared cameras. It's as if they have a natural invisibility cloak, making them the ultimate champions in the game of hide and seek. Good luck spotting them with a thermal camera. Did you know that the name John is over 4,000 years old? The name John is one of the oldest in human history, documented more than 4,000 years ago. This name has endured through countless ages and cultures, remaining relevant even today. Just imagine, millions of people throughout history have carried this simple yet powerful name, which continues to symbolize tradition and endurance. Who would have thought that electricity could be transmitted through the air? Scientists are already developing wireless energy transmission technologies. The basic principle is transmitting power using magnetic fields or lasers. In the future, charging mobile devices or even cars could happen without wires. This will change how we think about electronics and transportation. Tesla dreamed of wireless power back in the early 20th century, and now his ideas are becoming a reality. Did you know that there's a stone forest on Earth? In China's Yunnan province, you'll find one of the most unique natural phenomena, the Shilin, or stone forest. This astonishing forest isn't made of trees, but of towering limestone pillars that rise towards the sky like jagged spikes of rock. The age of this extraordinary forest is over 270 million years. Erosion from rain and wind has sculpted the rocks into such bizarre shapes. For centuries, people have attributed mystical powers to this place, and local legends claim that spirits of nature inhabit Shilin. It's so majestic and mysterious. It almost looks like a set from a fantasy movie. Did you know a group of kangaroos is called a mob? Yes, that's true. A group of these fascinating animals is called a mob, and the name perfectly describes their social behavior. Kangaroos live in large groups, moving and foraging together. Their social structure is well coordinated, with each mob acting as a unit. This makes them unique not only biologically, but also behaviorally. Now, when you see a group of kangaroos, you can call them a mob and impress your friends with this fun fact. Ducks with superpowers, they have 3 eyelids. Unlike most animals, ducks have not 2, but 3 eyelids. Besides the usual upper and lower eyelids, ducks have a third transparent membrane. This extra eyelid helps sweep their eyes from the side, protecting them from dust and debris, and it also improves their vision underwater. Ducks essentially have supervision, allowing them to thrive in different environments. Can you imagine what it's like to have such an amazing eye shield? True superheroes in the bird world. Did you know that squirrels can cause power outages? It turns out that cute, fluffy squirrels can cause significant damage to the power grid. In the United States, about 10 to 20% of all power outages happen because squirrels accidentally come into contact with wires and electrical equipment. These little mischief makers love climbing power lines, sometimes touching dangerous parts of the equipment. This leads to short circuits and outages that can affect entire cities. Who would have thought that such innocent-looking creatures could cause serious energy problems? Next time you see a squirrel on a tree, think about its potential as a saboteur. The slowest musical composition will last 639 years. In 2001, a group of musicians began playing John Cage's piece called As Slow as Possible. This unique performance is set to last 639 years and will finish only in 2640. Just think, several generations of people will listen to the same musical piece, hearing only slight changes in melody each year. This is the longest musical performance in human history. Did you know there are 1,500 types of tea? The world of tea is a universe of flavors and aromas. There are about 1,500 types of tea, ranging from familiar black and green teas to exotic blends with fruits and herbs. Millions of people around the world drink tea, and each type offers a unique experience and its own health benefits. Drinking tea is a whole ritual in which you can explore different cultures and traditions, discovering new flavors with every sip. Caffeine. Energy or illusion? Caffeine is the most popular psychoactive substance in the world, but it doesn't actually give you energy. Instead, it blocks adenosine receptors in the brain, preventing them from signaling tiredness. It's a kind of trick that makes your brain feel alert and awake. What's even more fascinating is that caffeine's molecular structure is very similar to that of adenosine, allowing it to take the place of this neurotransmitter. This clever process helps us wake up in the morning and stay alert throughout the day. Now imagine, it's all just a game of chemistry. Cows have a phenomenal sense of smell. Cows can boast an extraordinary sense of smell, capable of detecting scents from up to 6 million meters away. This means a cow can sniff out fresh grass or a water source from miles away. This sensitivity helps cows navigate their surroundings, find food, and avoid danger. But their sense of smell isn't just about finding food, it also helps them recognize their calves and even other herd members. This ability underscores how important the world of scents is to them and how closely they are connected to the natural environment. Did you know one lightning strike could toast 100,000 slices of bread? A single lightning strike can generate enough energy to toast about 100,000 slices of bread. This figure highlights the colossal power of lightning and its ability to generate incredible amounts of energy in just fractions of a second. Next time you see lightning, imagine how powerful nature is, not only booming thunderously, but also capable of powering an entire electric grid. Nature continues to astonish with its immense potential. Is it true that blood type O is the most common in the world? Yes, blood type O is indeed the most common on the planet. Approximately 38% of the world's population has this blood type, making it not only the most frequent, but also highly valuable for transfusions. Because of its universal compatibility, type O blood can be given to anyone with a positive blood type, which makes it critical in medical emergencies. If you have blood type O, know that you possess a valuable resource that could save countless lives. Turns out there are bridges that speak. In some places, such as the Millennium Bridge in London, special plates emit sounds when people walk on them. These sounds are designed to resemble whispers or voices, creating a unique atmosphere. Especially at night, such a bridge becomes a real attraction, drawing tourists with its mystical sounds. Did you know that Earth is not a perfect sphere? Our planet is far from being a perfect sphere. Its rotation causes it to bulge slightly at the equator and flatten at the poles. This shape is known as a geoid and results from the centrifugal force generated by Earth's spin. The difference in diameter between the poles and the equator is around 40 kilometers. This deviation from a perfect sphere shows how dynamic Earth truly is, always shaped by the forces acting upon it, even in ways we can't see from the surface. Did you know that some frogs can freeze solid and still survive? It turns out that certain frog species, like the wood frog, can completely freeze during winter and come back to life in the spring. These amazing amphibians can survive sub-zero temperatures by freezing almost entirely solid. Their hearts stop beating, they stop breathing, and their bodies turn rock hard. Yet when the weather warms up, they thaw and return to their usual lives, hopping around like nothing happened. Nature's cold storage system proves that frogs are some of the ultimate survivors. How did people erase before erasers? With bread. Before erasers were invented in the 19th century, people used bread to erase pencil marks. Yes, fresh bread, gently pressed against the paper, could erase unwanted marks. Imagine what your desk would look like if you had to nibble away at your mistakes with a piece of bread. Fortunately, progress has given us erasers that solve this problem without extra calories. As you can see, bread isn't just for eating, it's also a writing tool. Did you know Sirius is the brightest star in the night sky? When you look up at the night sky, you probably notice a bright star shining more brilliantly than all the others. That's Sirius, also known as the Dog Star. Located in the constellation Canis Major, Sirius has a magnitude of -1.46, making it the brightest star visible from Earth. Although it seems close, Sirius is about 8.6 light-years away, adding a sense of mystery and wonder to the night sky. 857 hours of film, the longest movie in the world. The Swedish experimental film Logistics is officially the longest film in the world. Its duration is 857 hours. That's 35 days and 17 hours. The film was shot in real time and depicts the fascinating, though quite monotonous journey of a pedometer, a device for measuring distance, from a factory in China to a buyer in Sweden. If you want to watch the entire film, you'll need almost a month and a half of continuous viewing. Who would have thought that logistics could be so long? Did you know that wild bananas are full of seeds? Most people imagine bananas as sweet, soft fruits, but it turns out that wild bananas are quite different. They are literally packed with large seeds, making them extremely inconvenient to eat. The bananas we enjoy today are the result of selective breeding, which has made the seeds almost invisible. Imagine, without human intervention, bananas would be a completely different fruit, and eating them would be far less enjoyable. Hard to believe, but there's an ice castle in Norway that disappears every spring. In the village of Alta in northern Norway, every winter a stunning ice hotel and castle are built entirely from snow and ice. This unique structure exists for just a few months. Once spring arrives, it melts and vanishes. Every year, the ice hotel is rebuilt from scratch, with new ice sculptures, an ice bar, and rooms for guests. This project has become a major attraction for tourists who come to admire the incredible architecture and immerse themselves in a world made entirely of frozen water. Why are trees in Poland mysteriously bent? In the crooked forest near the village of Gryfino in Poland, there are trees with mysterious curved trunks. Their bend begins almost at the roots, and the trees grow at an angle before straightening up. The exact reasons for this bend are unknown, and there are many theories from human intervention to natural anomalies. The crooked forest has become a popular tourist destination, drawing travelers eager to solve this natural mystery. Can you imagine that eagles symbolize philosophical power? In philosophy, the eagle often represents concepts such as strength, decisiveness, and honor. This majestic bird symbolizes control and authority. The eagle's powerful gaze is seen as a reflection of leadership qualities, inspiring people to consider them as rulers in the realm of ideas. Philosophers have long used the image of the eagle to illustrate the power of thought and action. What do cats purr for, really? We often think cats only purr when they're happy, but they actually use purring as a self-healing mechanism. The sound frequency of about 25 hertz helps cats speed up bone and tissue healing. It's a biological feature that not only relaxes them, but also promotes health. So when your cat purrs, it's not just showing contentment, it's also caring for its well-being. You might be a descendant of Genghis Khan. In 2003, scientists conducted a study that revealed that about 16 million men worldwide share a common Y chromosome with Genghis Khan. This means that approximately 1 in 200 men is a direct descendant of this famous conqueror. Genghis Khan and his descendants left a significant genetic legacy across the vast regions he conquered. Although this study focuses on the paternal line, it shows just how intertwined history and genetics can be. Did you know the world's oldest recipe is for beer? The oldest known beer recipe dates back to around 4,000 years before our era in ancient Sumeria. This ancient beer shows how long the tradition of brewing has been preserved. Sumerians brewed beer from barley, and this process was a key part of their culture for millennia. Who would have thought that the tradition of beer is so ancient and still thriving today? Do you know what the deepest lake in the world is? Lake Baikal, located in Siberia, is the deepest freshwater lake on Earth. Its depth reaches 5,315 feet, which is about 1,620 meters. This natural wonder holds a wealth of secrets, preserving ancient layers of sediments and housing unique species found nowhere else. Lake Baikal is not just a body of water. It's a living archive of the planet's history, containing traces of Earth's evolution hidden deep within its waters. Is it true that most dust is dead skin? Imagine that every day you shed millions of skin cells that turn into dust in your home. Dead skin cells make up a significant portion of household dust, along with clothing fibers, hair, and pollen. On average, a person loses about 200 million skin cells every hour. Of course, this doesn't sound very pleasant, but nature has designed your skin to constantly renew itself. In fact, one of the oils on your skin, squalene, helps reduce the harmful effects of ozone in the air, making your skin's microbiome a true protector of your environment. So the next time you're wiping down dust, remember, you're essentially cleaning away your yesterday cells that have already served their purpose. Amazing how the body continually renews itself and maintains balance with the environment. What if I told you there are floating markets in some countries? In Thailand and Vietnam, you can find markets located right on the water. Traders sell fruits, vegetables, and souvenirs from small boats, creating an amazing and colorful scene. These markets are located along canals where people can literally paddle up to the goods they want. This unique tradition attracts tourists from all over the world, allowing them to immerse themselves in the local culture and trading atmosphere. Did you know that some mushrooms can glow in the dark? Certain types of mushrooms have a magical ability to glow in the dark, creating a mystical forest scene. This phenomenon is called bioluminescence. When walking through the woods at night, some mushrooms emit a soft, mysterious glow, turning the forest floor into a fairy tale. This glow attracts insects, helping the mushrooms spread their spores, making them not only beautiful, but functional. Bioluminescent mushrooms are yet another example of nature's wonders. Every cat has a unique nose print, just like humans have unique fingerprints. Cats have their own special patterns on their noses. Each cat's nose has a distinct print that can be used to identify them, much like how fingerprints work for people. This trait makes every cat's nose completely unique and adds a bit of personality to their charm. So if you have a furry purring friend at home, know that their nose is as unique as their character. This amazing fact highlights how diverse and mysterious the feline world is, where even the smallest details matter. What's hidden in LEGO's Secret Vault? LEGO has a secret underground vault that stores every single set of building blocks the company has ever made. It's a true time capsule filled with nostalgia and creativity, waiting to delight fans of all ages. Imagine the wonders hidden beneath this vault, where both classic and modern sets are stored together. This vault is a dream come true for LEGO enthusiasts, preserving the company's entire legacy. Male seahorses, a fascinating exception in nature. Did you know that seahorses are the only animals where males carry the offspring? Yes, it's the male seahorses that take on the role of pregnancy. They have a special pouch on their abdomen where the female deposits her eggs. After this, the male seahorse incubates the offspring for about 3 weeks, eventually giving birth to baby seahorses. This unique process makes seahorses one of the most unusual creatures in the animal kingdom. Male sea dragons and pipefish, close relatives of seahorses, also possess this remarkable ability. Nature is full of surprises, and seahorses are living proof that it can break its own rules. Did you know the first alarm clock could only ring at one time? Imagine an alarm clock that only rings at 4 in the morning. That's exactly what the first alarm clock was like, invented by Levi Hutchins in 1787. This primitive, but at the time innovative device was designed solely for Hutchins' personal use. It didn't allow the user to choose a time, but it guaranteed an early rise. After all, 4 a.m. leaves no room for just 5 more minutes. Nonetheless, this invention was the forerunner of the modern alarm clocks we now wrestle with every morning. Believe it or not, rats can laugh. Yes, you heard that right. Rats can laugh. Scientists have discovered that these cute rodents emit ultrasonic giggles when tickled. While humans can't hear these sounds, the rat's laughter has been recorded with special equipment and proved that rats can experience pleasure. This fact opens a new dimension in the study of animals' emotional worlds. Imagine, rats not only run through mazes, but also have fun, just like we do. Who would have thought that rats could be so funny and emotionally responsive creatures? It's hard to believe, but it rains diamonds on Saturn. Researchers believe that lightning storms in Saturn's atmosphere turn methane into carbon, which then crystallizes into diamonds. These diamond drops can reach several centimeters in size, and as they fall from great heights, turn into graphite. Thus, on Saturn, you can witness a rain of precious stones. At such depths and under high pressure, they turn back into carbon, but the very idea of this phenomenon is breathtaking. Ready to walk the entire Great Wall of China? If you're planning to walk the entire length of the Great Wall of China, prepare for a monumental journey. The Great Wall stretches for over 5,000 miles, or about 8,000 kilometers, across China. Walking the entire distance could take around 18 months, walking every day. The Great Wall is not just an ancient feat of engineering, but one of the world's greatest wonders, offering breathtaking views and glimpses into China's vast history at every step. How did the term honeymoon originate, and what does it have to do with honey? The term honeymoon traces back to ancient Babylonian culture. It turns out that after a wedding, the bride's father would provide the newlyweds with a month's supply of honey and mead, a fermented honey drink. This ritual was believed to ensure happiness and fertility in the early days of marriage. Because of this tradition, the first month of marriage became known as the honeymoon, and this idea has endured through the ages, becoming a symbol of romantic getaways for newlyweds. Magirocophobia. Fear of cooking is real. Magirocophobia goes far beyond just not wanting to cook. It's a deep-rooted fear that can grip someone at the mere thought of turning on the stove. Imagine standing in a kitchen, surrounded by pots and pans, and feeling a wave of terror, like you're in a haunted house. It's not about being bad at cooking, it's the fear that keeps people away. Not all scary things hide in closets. Some are lurking in your cookbook. The spring equinox. More than just a change of seasons. The first day of spring is known as the vernal equinox. The term vernal comes from the Latin word for spring, while equinox means equal night in Latin. During this time, day and night are nearly equal in length. An interesting fact, according to a study on Facebook, spring is the season when couples are most likely to break up. Perhaps the balance of day and night encourages people to seek new beginnings. Who knew that an astronomical event could have an impact on our personal lives? Who would have thought a group of badgers is called a seat? In the world of wildlife terminology, a group of badgers is known as a seat. This unusual term adds a bit of quirkiness to the vocabulary of nature. Badgers are known for their burrowing abilities, and they form close-knit social groups. This unique collective noun perfectly captures their digging prowess and teamwork. So next time you see a group of badgers, You'll know you're witnessing a SEAT in action, a true badge of nature's oddities. Did you know that armadillos can transmit leprosy to humans? Armadillos are one of the few animals that can transmit the disease known as leprosy to humans. Though rare today, this infection can be passed from animal to human through contact with armadillos. Leprosy is caused by bacteria and is usually transmitted after prolonged contact with an infected animal. Scientific studies have shown that armadillos can carry the same strains of bacteria as humans, making them unique in the animal kingdom. Although this disease can be treated with antibiotics, it's worth exercising caution when interacting with these cute but potentially dangerous creatures. Who would have thought that such a peculiar little animal could be a carrier of an ancient disease? Hard to believe, but there's an underwater waterfall in the world. On the island of Mauritius in the Indian Ocean, there is a phenomenon that baffles even experienced travelers and scientists. Off the island's southwestern coast, you can witness an optical illusion of an underwater waterfall. It's not a real waterfall, but a natural phenomenon where sand and sediment, moved by currents, create the illusion of a waterfall plunging into the ocean depths. Due to the ocean floor's contours, it looks like water is cascading down into a giant abyss, though in reality, it's just an illusion. Yet this view is so mesmerizing that many tourists come to Mauritius just to see this extraordinary sight. Is it possible? There is a lake in Tanzania where no one swims? Lake Natron, located near the border with Kenya, is known for its extremely high salinity and alkalinity, which turns any animal that ends up in its waters into a mummy. Birds and fish caught in the lake literally turn to stone due to chemical reactions. Although it looks eerie, the lake's stunning red color draws tourists and photographers. Despite its beauty, locals and travelers never dare to venture into its dangerous waters. How long do you think the world's longest tongue is? British artist Nick Stubrel holds the title for the world's longest tongue. His tongue measures an impressive 10.1 centimeters, just under 4 inches. Nick can perform amazing tricks with his tongue. He can lick his nose, elbow, and even his own eye. He has also turned his unique talent into an art form, using his tongue to paint portraits. Nick covers his tongue in paint and makes strokes on canvas, creating truly unusual pieces of art. Talk about extraordinary skills. Radioactive bananas. Yes, it's true. Did you know that bananas are radioactive? Yes, your favorite fruit contains a small amount of the radioactive isotope potassium-40. But don't worry, you would have to eat a huge number of bananas at once to be harmed by radiation. This natural radioactivity poses no health risk, but it does make bananas an interesting example of how nature can surprise us with unexpected properties. So the next time you enjoy a banana, you can impress your friends with this surprising fact. Did you know glass actually flows? Contrary to popular belief, glass is not entirely solid. Over time, glass slowly flows, though this process can take hundreds or thousands of years. In old buildings, you might notice that glass windows have become slightly thicker at the bottom. This happens because the molecules of glass gradually shift downward under the force of gravity, making it behave more like a very slow-moving liquid on a molecular level. Penicillin was discovered by accident, and it saved millions of lives. In 1928, Alexander Fleming returned from vacation to his laboratory and noticed that one of his Petri dishes, infected with bacteria, was covered in mold. He was amazed to find that bacteria were not growing around the mold. This was the beginning of the discovery of penicillin, the world's first antibiotic, which completely transformed medicine and saved countless lives. A chance discovery became one of the greatest breakthroughs in human history. Tiny plants, mighty power. Half of Earth's oxygen comes from the ocean. The oxygen we breathe is not only created by forests, but also by tiny marine organisms like plankton, algae, and seaweed. These little factories produce more than half of the planet's oxygen through photosynthesis. Thanks to sunlight, they transform carbon dioxide into oxygen, which is vital for all living beings on Earth. This amazing fact reminds us of the importance of the oceans and their role in sustaining life on our planet. The elephant trunk trick. 40,000 muscles in one nose. Yes, you read that right. An elephant's trunk contains about 40,000 muscles. That's more than the entire human body, and this is why an elephant's trunk is so incredibly versatile. With it, elephants can lift heavy branches, gently pick berries, drink water, make sounds, and even caress their young. But did you know that young elephants often suck on their trunks, just like children suck their thumbs? It helps them feel calm and secure, a true wonder of nature. Such a complex and multifunctional organ like the elephant's trunk. Amazingly, octopuses have 3 hearts. Octopuses are fascinating creatures with 3 hearts. One pumps blood to the body, and the other 2 pump blood through the gills. Moreover, their blood is blue because it contains copper instead of iron. This makes octopuses not only mysterious, but also some of the most unique creatures on Earth. It's hard to imagine that nature could create such amazing beings with such a unique system. The rarest zebra in the world, spots instead of stripes. In Kenya, an incredible zebra was once spotted with spots instead of the usual stripes. This rare phenomenon occurred due to a genetic mutation that literally transformed our understanding of what zebras look like. This unusual zebra attracted great attention from conservationists and biologists, as such deviations are rare and require special attention to preserve the species. It's not every day you see a zebra with spots instead of stripes. Who would have thought that the wombat is a true architect of nature? Imagine this. The small, furry wombat living in Australian forests is not just cute, but unique in a very peculiar way. It's the only animal on the planet that leaves cube-shaped droppings. Yes, you heard that right. Perfect little cubes. These unusual blocks don't just roll down hills. Wombats strategically place them to mark their territory. The cubic shape helps prevent them from rolling, which is especially useful in hilly areas. Scientists have long wondered how wombats manage to produce such regular shapes. The secret lies in the unique structure of their intestines, which compress the waste into perfect cubes. Nature never ceases to amaze, and wombats with their cube droppings are a shining example of how fascinating her creations can be. Did you know that secret staircases were built into Italian houses? In Italian cities like Venice and Florence, aristocrats often built houses with secret staircases that allowed them to hide in case of danger. These staircases were hidden within the walls and led to secret rooms or exits. Some of them still exist today and are true architectural treasures. Even now, these hidden passages continue to fascinate explorers and tourists, intrigued by the mysteries of the past. How about this? In Italy, there is a village built on lava. In Italy, at the foot of Mount Etna, lies the village of Bronte, known for having some of its homes built directly on ancient lava flows. Volcanic eruptions often created layers of lava so solid that entire structures could be built on top. This unique feature has made Bronte famous worldwide. What's even more astonishing is that the locals are not afraid to live next to an active volcano, believing that the ancient lava protects their homes from new eruptions. How would you react if you knew that in Japan, buildings are made of paper? In Japan, they are developing innovative buildings made from recycled paper. This material is used for temporary structures such as pavilions or exhibition centers. The paper walls are treated with special substances that make them resistant to rain and fire. This is an example of how modern technologies allow for the construction of eco-friendly buildings that are easy to dismantle and recycle, leaving no harm to the environment. Welcome to a town with a population of 1. Imagine an entire town with only 1 resident. Monowai, a small town in Nebraska, USA, has a population of just 1 person, Elsie Eiler. She wears many hats: mayor, librarian, and bar owner. This tiny town with a population of 1 is a unique place in the U.S. Elsie runs everything on her own, collects taxes from herself, and serves the few tourists who pass by. Monowai is a living example of a one-woman show, drawing attention because of its uniqueness and Elsie's story. Can you imagine a snowflake the size of a plate? In 1887, the largest snowflake ever recorded fell in Montana. It was 15 inches wide and 8 inches thick. That's the size of a dinner plate. Imagine being under such a snowstorm. This amazing event went down in meteorological history as the most unusual snow phenomenon. So next time you complain about the snow, think, it could have been much bigger and more impressive. How about the longest word with just 1 vowel? Did you know that the word strengths is the longest word in the English language with only 1 vowel? It's fascinating as this word is not only powerful in meaning, but also unique in its structure. It proves that even the simplest words can be incredibly complex when looked at from a different perspective. Next time you use this word, pay attention to its uniqueness. It's a small linguistic puzzle. How did ancient Egyptians predict the flooding of the Nile? The ancient Egyptians believed that the flooding of the Nile depended on the position of the star Sirius in the sky. They watched for its rising and knew that when Sirius appeared, the time of the flood was approaching, bringing fertility and wealth to their land. Sirius was so important to the ancient Egyptians that it was even associated with the goddess Isis. This star helped predict harvests and prevent famine, holding significance for thousands of years. Did you know the shape of Pringles chips is a mathematical masterpiece? When you enjoy crispy Pringles chips, you probably don't think about how their shape wasn't created by chance. This shape is called a hyperbolic paraboloid, and it allows the chips to resist breaking as easily as regular potato slices. Moreover, this geometric design is perfect for stacking chips neatly in their iconic cylindrical can. So, these chips are not only delicious, but also a true work of mathematical art. Did you know that monarch butterflies undertake one of the longest migrations on Earth? These amazing insects travel thousands of kilometers each year, migrating from Mexico to the United States and Canada. What's even more incredible is that this journey takes place over several generations. Monarch butterflies begin their migration, lay eggs, and the next generation continues the journey. This incredible relay across generations transforms their migration into a dance that transcends borders, a true wonder of nature. Vending machines are more dangerous than sharks. When you go to grab a snack from a vending machine, danger probably isn't on your mind. But here's the shocker. Vending machines pose a greater threat to us than sharks. Research shows that you are more likely to be killed by a vending machine than by a shark. This startling fact reminds us that everyday objects can be surprisingly dangerous. So next time you get a snack, be careful. The real danger might just be lurking in the office or school hallway. Have you ever noticed that fresh, earthy smell after rain? This unique scent, known as petrichor, fills the air when rain first touches dry soil. The term petrichor comes from the Greek words petra, stone, and ichor, which is the fluid said to flow in the veins of the gods. It's as if each drop of rain reveals the earth's hidden fragrance, captivating our senses with a touch of nature's charm. Did you know that lions can sleep up to 20 hours a day? Although lions are considered fearsome predators, they spend most of their lives resting. After a successful hunt, lions can sleep up to 20 hours, fully relaxing and restoring their strength. This helps them conserve energy for the next hunt. In a pride, lions often rest together, sometimes even piling up on one another, while it's mostly the lionesses who hunt, as they are more resilient. This behavior allows lions to save energy for short, powerful bursts needed to catch their prey. Why does Patagonia have a lake that completely disappears every year? Lake Capri in Patagonia is a true natural wonder. Each summer, its waters vanish as if by magic. Scientists believe that the water drains into underground tunnels that open during the summer, and then the lake refills in the winter. This makes Lake Capri one of Patagonia's most mysterious attractions, drawing tourists and researchers who try to unravel the secrets of its disappearance. What if I told you that your body has enough iron to make a nail? Have you ever wondered how much iron your body contains? It turns out that the human body has about 3 to 4 grams of this essential mineral. It may not seem like much, but it's enough to make a small nail. Iron plays a crucial role in our bodies. It helps produce hemoglobin, which carries oxygen throughout the body. Without this vital element, many bodily processes couldn't function. Now that you know this fact, you can impress your friends by saying there's a real nail of iron inside you. It's interesting that footprints on the moon will last for millions of years. Due to the lack of atmosphere on the moon, the footprints left by astronauts may remain for millions of years. There is no wind or water on the moon to erase footprints or even the marks left by spacecraft. This means that the footprints from the Apollo missions, left in the 1960s and 1970s, will remain almost unchanged for millions of years. The moon's surface is like a time capsule of space exploration history. What if I told you that you can boil water just by shaking it? Yes, it's true, although practically impossible to do. If you shake a container of water fast and hard enough, you can create friction, which will raise the water's temperature. Theoretically, if you shake it quickly enough, you could even bring the water to a boil. This unusual physics experiment shows how mechanical energy can be converted into heat. While you won't be making tea this way, the mere possibility that shaking could boil water is astonishing. Can you believe that Canada has more lakes than the rest of the world combined? Yes, it's true. Canada alone has more lakes than all other countries in the world combined. About 60% of all freshwater lakes on the planet are located in this country. From small, crystal-clear ponds to giant lakes like Lake Superior, Canada is famous for its water resources. The variety of lakes makes Canada an ideal destination for nature lovers, water sports enthusiasts, and fishermen. Impressive, isn't it? If you're planning a trip, don't forget to include a visit to one of these unique natural wonders. Hard to believe, but it takes 8 minutes for sunlight to reach Earth. The sunlight we see every day actually began its journey from the sun 8 minutes ago. This is because the speed of light is about 300,000 kilometers per second, and the distance from the sun to Earth is approximately 150 million kilometers. So every time you look at the sun, you're seeing its past. This fascinating time delay is one of the most interesting phenomena of cosmic physics. Lakes underwater? Yes, they exist. It's hard to believe, but there are lakes under the water. They are called brine pools or underwater lakes, and they can be found on the ocean floor. How is this possible? It's all about the high salt concentration in these lakes, which makes the water inside them much denser than the surrounding seawater. These salty pools can look like real lakes separated from the surrounding water, and sometimes unique life forms can be found in them, adapted to these extreme conditions. This is one of the amazing phenomena of our planet, which looks like something straight out of science fiction. Is it true that hippos sweat red? When hippos spend a lot of time in the sun, their skin starts to secrete a special red fluid that looks like blood. This sweat acts as both a sunscreen and an antiseptic, protecting them from sunburn and infection. It's often called blood sweat, though it contains no blood at all. This incredible secretion helps hippos withstand the intense African sun, spending most of their days in water and only occasionally coming out onto land. Is it possible in Tokyo there is an inverted tower that goes more than 60 floors underground? The Japanese are known for their engineering ingenuity, and the inverted tower project is one of the most ambitious. This tower, unlike traditional skyscrapers, goes deep underground instead of soaring into the sky. Built in the dense urban landscape, it is an innovative solution for creating new office and living spaces in a land-scarce environment. Imagine walking down the street and below you, there's a whole underground city. Did you know Mandarin is the most spoken language in the world? Mandarin Chinese is not only one of the oldest languages on the planet, but also the most spoken, with over 918 million speakers. That's about 12% of the global population. Mandarin is the official language of China, Taiwan, and one of the official languages of Singapore. Interestingly, Mandarin is a tonal language, which means that the same word can have different meanings depending on the tone used. Imagine this. The word ma can mean mother, horse, scold, or hemp, depending on how you say it. This makes Mandarin one of the most challenging yet fascinating languages to learn. Antarctica is the largest desert on Earth. Antarctica, despite all its ice and snow, is actually the largest desert in the world. Yes, you heard that right. The criteria that define a desert are low levels of precipitation, and in Antarctica, very little moisture falls. The average annual precipitation in some parts of the continent is similar to that of the Sahara. This makes Antarctica a true ice desert, where endless ice fields stretch instead of scorching sands. This fact highlights that deserts come in many forms, both hot and cold, and nature always has a surprise in store. Who would have thought that you can see sounds through light? Sounds can not only be heard, but also seen. Using special equipment like oscilloscopes, scientists can visualize sound waves, turning them into light pulses. These pulses take on different shapes depending on the frequency and intensity of the sound. The sight is incredible. High frequencies appear as fast, thin lines, while low ones as slow, broad patterns. Technology allows us to see music and sounds, adding a new dimension to how we perceive them. The Shawshank Redemption, a movie that didn't become a legend right away. Who would have thought that one of the greatest films of all time, The Shawshank Redemption, initially flopped at the box office? When this masterpiece by Stephen King and director Frank Darabont was released in 1994, it didn't make much money in theaters. But thanks to word of mouth, the film gained popularity over time. People began recommending it to friends, and it gradually became a cult classic. Today, it tops many lists of the best films of all time, proving that the power of great storytelling and genuine audience love can make a film immortal. Blindsight. How can someone see without realizing it? Imagine being blind but still being able to see movements and objects. This phenomenon is known as blindsight. It occurs in people with damage to the visual cortex. Even though they don't see in the conventional sense, they can intuitively detect the location of objects and even guess where they are moving. How is this possible? Other parts of the brain are still able to process visual information. This fascinating phenomenon makes us wonder about how much our brain does in the background without us even being aware of it. Did you know your keyboard is dirtier than a toilet seat? It sounds awful, but your keyboard can be a real breeding ground for germs. Studies have shown that keyboards often contain more bacteria than toilet seats. Dust, food crumbs, and microbes accumulate on the keys over time. That's why regularly cleaning your keyboard isn't just a good habit, it's an important hygiene measure. A keyboard cleaner and wet wipes are your best friends in the battle against germs. Can you imagine that Cleopatra, the famous queen of Egypt, wasn't Egyptian by birth? Cleopatra VII, the last ruler of ancient Egypt, was born into the Ptolemaic dynasty, which was of Macedonian and Greek descent. She was the first in her family to learn the Egyptian language and adopt local customs, making her a unique figure in history. This queen, who blended cultures and identities, seems to have stepped right out of legend, connecting ancient civilizations and shaping her own remarkable story. Can you believe that the electric chair was actually invented by a dentist? Believe it or not, the electric chair, one of the most infamous devices in history, was conceived by Alfred P. Southwick, a dentist. Southwick designed the electric chair in the late 19th century as a more humane alternative to hanging. This shocking invention forever changed the history of capital punishment. It's almost ironic to think that a person dedicated to caring for people's teeth would create such a grim device. Can you imagine that the world's largest Ferris wheel can hold over 1,000 passengers? In Las Vegas, USA, stands the giant Ferris wheel known as High Roller. This massive wheel has a diameter of 167 meters and can hold up to 1,120 passengers in 28 spacious cabins. The ride takes about 30 minutes, giving riders breathtaking views of the city. The High Roller is not just an amusement ride, but a symbol of the grandeur of Las Vegas. Did you know that the Tower of London was once bright white? In the Middle Ages, the Tower of London wasn't gray as it is today, but instead it was covered with a white plaster, earning it the nickname White Tower. At that time, white plaster symbolized strength and purity. Every few years, the tower was repainted to maintain its bright appearance. Over time, the coating wore away, and the tower became gray due to dirt and pollution. But once, it really was a gleaming white pearl on the London skyline. Can you imagine that the total weight of all ants on Earth equals the weight of all humans? Despite their tiny size, ants are among the most numerous creatures on the planet. The total weight of all ants on Earth is equal to the weight of all humans. This astonishing fact highlights just how numerous these small workers are. Ants live in every corner of the planet, and their contribution to ecosystems is incredibly important. It's another example of how nature surprises us with its unexpected scales. Who would have thought that ants are such heavyweights in the natural world? How Albert Einstein inspired the character of Yoda. Did you know that the appearance of the legendary Star Wars character, Master Yoda, was partially inspired by Albert Einstein? The filmmakers used photos of the great scientist to give Yoda a wise and thoughtful look. Einstein's genius features, such as his wrinkles, pensive expression, and tired yet intelligent gaze, were the foundation for creating one of the most recognizable characters in film history. This fascinating fact shows how modern cultural icons can be linked to real geniuses of the past. The next time you watch Star Wars, remember that Yoda's wise look hides a bit of one of history's greatest scientists. Can it be true that sharks never stop swimming, even when they sleep? Unlike other fish, sharks don't have swim bladders, so they must keep moving to stay buoyant and breathe. Some sharks can enter a semi-sleep state where half their brain rests while the other half keeps them swimming. Thus, sharks literally swim their entire lives without stopping. What's the longest time between the birth of twins? The longest recorded gap between the birth of twins is 87 days. This astonishing record was set when one twin was born prematurely and the other stayed in the womb for almost 3 more months. Imagine that, one twin born at the end of 1 year and the other in the following year. This unusual story adds a remarkable milestone to the family's life, creating a unique timeline between the births of these twins. Turns out Che Guevara was a medical student. Before becoming one of the most influential figures in revolutionary history, Ernesto Che Guevara was studying medicine in Buenos Aires. In his youth, he was filled with a desire to help people, and his medical knowledge later helped him as he became a symbol of the fight for freedom. Who would have thought that a medical student would one day become an icon of world revolution? His drive for justice manifested even in his pursuit to heal people, whether physically or politically. How did lasers help discover a ghost city under the jungle in America? In Honduras, scientists used laser scanning technology to survey dense jungles and stumbled upon the ruins of an ancient city hidden beneath centuries-old trees. This city, known as the White City or City of the Gods, had been forgotten and inaccessible to people for hundreds of years. Local legends say the city is cursed, and researchers found numerous artifacts that remain mysterious to this day. Did you know that the resolution of the human eye surpasses any camera? Our eyes can distinguish up to 10 million shades of color with such incredible clarity that no modern camera can compare. Imagine this. The human eye has a resolution of 576 megapixels. This is far beyond even the best photographic technologies available today. We all love high-resolution screens, but we often forget that our own eyes already provide us with the perfect visual experience. And the best part, it's completely free. Thumbs have their own pulse. Have you ever wondered why people check their pulse using their index and middle fingers instead of their thumbs? It's because your thumb has its own pulse. Each thumb is supplied with blood by the radial artery, which runs along the wrist on the thumb side. This artery is so strong that you can feel its pulse when you touch it. That's why it's recommended to avoid using your thumb when taking a pulse, to prevent mixing up its pulse with your actual heartbeat. Now you know that even your thumb has its own little heartbeat. One spaghetti noodle is called spaghetto. Spaghetti is one of the world's most popular dishes, but did you know that if you have just one noodle, it's called a spaghetto? This quirky grammar twist adds a touch of loneliness to an otherwise delicious meal. So if you ever find yourself dining alone on a single strand of spaghetti, don't feel bad. You're just following proper Italian grammar rules. Italian grammar makes food not only delicious, but also a little more poetic. Hard to believe, but snakes can sleep with their eyes open. Snakes don't blink because they don't have eyelids. Instead, their eyes are covered by a transparent scale. During sleep, their eyes remain open, giving the impression that they are always watching their surroundings. This feature helps snakes stay alert to threats even while resting. The transparent scale also protects their eyes from dust and dirt, which is especially important for desert and forest dwellers. It's an incredible adaptation that allows them to sense danger even in their sleep. How would you react if you found out that snails can sleep for up to 3 years? Some species of snails can enter a deep sleep called estivation to survive harsh conditions like extreme drought or lack of food. During this time, they slow down almost all their bodily functions and seal themselves inside their shells with a protective layer. This state of dormancy can last for up to 3 years, allowing them to wait out unfavorable conditions until the environment becomes more hospitable. It's like going to sleep and waking up years later, only to find that the world around you has changed completely. Why can toads live far from water? Ever wondered what makes toads different from frogs? One of the key differences is their habitat. Frogs need to stay near water because their skin requires moisture to breathe. Toads, however, have thicker skin that allows them to retain moisture and live away from water. So if you spot an amphibian in your backyard, it's more likely to be a toad than a frog. These adaptations help toads survive in drier places, making them true masters of land survival. Did you know that astronauts can't burp in space? In the absence of gravity, our bodily functions behave very differently than on Earth. One of the strange effects is that astronauts cannot burp in space. On Earth, gravity helps separate gas from food in the stomach, allowing us to release air. But in space without gravity, gases remain mixed with liquids, making burping impossible. In fact, if astronauts tried to drink carbonated beverages, it could lead to rather unpleasant results. It's a small reminder of how much gravity influences our everyday functions and how amazing our bodies are in space conditions. Tick saliva is hundreds of times stronger than morphine. It sounds incredible, but tick saliva contains compounds with anesthetic properties that are hundreds of times stronger than morphine. These natural painkillers allow ticks to attach to their hosts without causing pain. This fact has attracted the attention of scientists who are now researching the potential of using these compounds in medicine to create new pain relief methods. Who would have thought that tiny parasites could hide such immense medical potential? Why do you think giraffes have black tongues? Giraffes have tongues nearly half a meter long, and they're not just black, they're blue-black. This unique color isn't random. It protects them from the sun. Giraffes spend hours each day stripping leaves from tall trees under the hot sun. The dark color acts like a natural sunscreen, preventing sunburn. This amazing adaptation lets giraffes spend all the time they need in the sun without worry. Nature thought of everything. Believe it or not, the dragon's blood tree cries red sap. On the island of Socotra, there grows an ancient tree that releases a bright red sap that looks like blood, giving it its name. The sap of the dragon's blood tree has been used for centuries in medicine, as well as for making dyes and even in rituals. This unusual substance acts as a natural antiseptic and is still considered a valuable resource in some cultures. Legends say that the tree guards its secrets, and the sap is the tears of an ancient dragon. Astronauts don't float in zero gravity like we think. Many people believe that astronauts experience total weightlessness in space, but that's a common misconception. In reality, they are constantly falling toward Earth, but at such a high speed that they never crash into it. This continuous fall gives them the feeling of being weightless, a fantastic example of how the laws of physics turn space into a magical realm of floating.